This past Friday morning, as I was wrapping up my cardio, one of our members, Tim, was finishing his cardio on a treadmill just right in front of me. As he stepped off, he pulled off his headphones and turned my way. I paused the video on my tablet and I said, "Good morning." He said, "Good morning," and I asked how his workout went. He said it was good, and so I followed up with a bigger question. What are the biggest things that you're trying to accomplish with your training right now? Tim told me that he had already lost about 50 pounds while taking one of the GLP-1 medications under his doctor's supervision. And I congratulate him because that is a huge accomplishment. He said he still had more to go, though he didn't share a specific number. And so I asked, what's the end game? Now I'm thinking weight loss number. His answer hit me hard. He said, I just want to be able to play on the floor with my grandkids. That comment stopped me cold because it connects directly to something I first learned from Peter Attia, MD, and it's called the Centenarian Decathlon, and the idea of backcasting from your future self to today. And it's one of the most powerful frameworks I know for turning vague hopes into clear daily marching orders. Peter defines your marginal years as the last 10 years of your life. And then the Centenarian Decathlon is simply picking the top physical activities you most want to be able to do during those years. Now, the list doesn't have to stop at 10. In fact, the longer and more personal the list, the more emotional pull it creates in the present. So when Tim, who's 55, said he wants to play on the floor with his grandkids, he was naming a present day goal. And I love the fact that he has that. But if we ever work together, I'm going to challenge him to raise the bar and set some more aggressive goals 20 to 30 years out. I want to make sure he actually gets to live the long and full life that he's imagining. So, for the record, I train clients in their 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, and they groan every time I make them get in the floor for either bird dogs or other core work because they know they have to get back up again. For some of them, it's genuinely difficult. So never underestimate how legitimate a goal like play on the floor with my grandkids or great grandkids in my 80s really is. Prioritizing muscle. So back to Tim. I could tell he was short on time, so I didn't dive into the whole full Centenarian Decathlon conversation. I did ask how much attention he was paying to muscle mass. His answer, not much. So I quickly shared why maximizing muscle through strength training and nutrition is mission critical as we age. Statistically, we lose muscle every decade if we don't train for it. And the only proven ways to slow that loss or even reverse it for a while are lifting weights and eating enough protein every day. Those two things are non-negotiable. I also asked whether he was using our in-body scale, which tracks weight, muscle mass in pounds, body fat percentage, visceral fat, and basal metabolic rate. He wasn't checking it regularly, so I encouraged him to weigh at least once a week so he could see what was actually happening to his body composition as the scale continued to drop. He thanked me and had to run off to work. The conversation was overall very positive, but it left me feeling like I had missed an opportunity to connect more deeply. For all the progress that Tim has made, and he truly has, there's still clear ways he could take far more control over how his body is aging. GLP-1 medications are powerful tools. They're not magic. From my perspective as a fitness professional nutrition coach who's now worked with several clients on GLP-1 drugs, including tirzepatide and Ozempic, these medications are impressive. They generally reduce appetite and they can deliver meaningful weight loss and other health benefits. And I say can because they're not a guarantee. They're not a shortcut and they're not a magic bullet. I watch clients lose 20 to 25 pounds or more and then regain it all and beyond because they simply stopped taking the medications or went off the rails with their nutrition. The drugs help create a caloric deficit, again, by suppressing hunger. But long-term success still requires permanently changing your eating behavior. One consistent challenge that I've seen is that when appetite drops dramatically, it becomes even harder to hit protein targets. And when you're trying to lose body fat, especially at 50 plus years of age, Protecting muscle mass is everything. You don't want to lose muscle along with the body fat. Once you're past 40, 50 years old, rebuilding lost muscle gets noticeably harder every year. Tim had no idea what was happening to his muscle mass because he wasn't paying attention to it. And from watching him train, his program design is not exactly optimized to preserve it. The aging muscle tax. Here's the reality that most people never hear. If you're not strength training, you will lose roughly 5 pounds of muscle every decade after the age of 30. So from 30 to 80, that's 50 years. That's 25 pounds of muscle gone. Your body literally shrinks. Your engines from movement, balance, and independence disappear. Now you can slow, minimize, or partially offset that loss with consistent strength training and protein. Think of it like Peter Attia's glider analogy. The higher you climb with strength training while the power plane, think your youth and hormones, is still pulling you, the longer and gentler your glide will be when the plane eventually lets go. Backcasting, turning your 85-year-old dreams in today's training plan. This is where the Centenarian Decathlon becomes incredibly practical. You list the physical things you want to be able to do in your marginal years. I use age 85 just as an example. And then you backcast. If I want to do X at 85, what VO2 max, strength levels, and mobility do I need right now at my current age? With AI and the data we have on how VO2 max, muscle power, and mobility decline with age, you can make this very objective and measurable. And most people are upside down when they first run the numbers. They're not where they need to be today to reach their future goals. Here's my personal, partial list of things that I want to be able to do at 85. Drive myself to the grocery store, shop, and come home independently. Drive independently, either drive myself to the airport and or take an Uber and then walk all the way through security to my gate on my own power. No scooter required. Play 9 holes of golf, walking roughly 2 to 3 miles with just a pull cart. Get down on the floor and play Legos or whatever with my grandkids and or great grandkids, and then stand up on my own power. Still be able to have sex. Strength train at least 3 days a week and do cardio 3 days a week, and then walk 2 to 3 miles comfortably whenever I want. Every single one of those activities requires a certain VO2 max and a baseline of strength and power. The backcast tells you exactly where you need to be today and what you have to do between now and 85 to get there. So this is what doing the work actually looks like. If you're 40 or any age really, and you're serious, need to strength train at least 2 to 3 days a week. 3 is better, 30 is 60 minutes, 60 is better, more is better. Total body workouts are extremely effective. However, I say effective, efficient. However, an upper lower split or a straight push pull can work equally well depending on your schedule. Do cardio in a 1-to-1 ratio with your strength training, including steady state zone 2 work and then some higher intensity intervals to improve and protect your VO2 max. Your cardiovascular fitness has a surprisingly long runway for improvement into your 80s and beyond. Eat protein at roughly 1 gram per pound of your ideal body weight. Most people have no idea how much they're actually eating and they fall short. Energy balance still matters the most for body composition, but protein is a lever most people ignore. The Tomorrow War moment. A few weeks ago, I watched The Tomorrow War with Chris Pratt. It's an Amazon Prime original. It's an excellent movie. It is very intense. And I don't want to spoil it, but Chris gets a chance to see a glimpse of his future, and it's not pretty. Then he has a chance to go back to the present and change based on what he saw. That's exactly what backcasting gives you. You get to look at your 85-year-old self and decide right now whether you like the trajectory that you're on. And if not, change course today. The technology and the data exist. The only question is whether you'll use them. Your challenge. Name one thing, the most important physical thing that you want to be able to do in your marginal years. Plug it into AI or ask me directly, what do I need to be able to do today in terms of VO2 max and strength and power and mobility to make that possible? If the gap feels big, that's okay. You have your marching orders. If you want help walking through your own Centenarian Decathlon, backcasting the numbers, building the training plan, or locking in the nutrition, just reach out to me via Work with Kelly. I'd be honored to help you turn that future vision into today's reality. Your 85-year-old self and your grandkids will thank you. Best of luck in your journey. I think